I'd been casually seeing this girl, Mia, for a couple of months. We weren't serious, but we decided to take a little trip together and rented an Airbnb in the city, a stylish loft with big windows and a rooftop view. It was supposed to be a fun, low-key weekend. The first night was great. We ordered takeout, watched a movie, and even had a few drinks. But around midnight, Mia's phone started blowing up. She looked at the screen, her face pale. "Who is it?" I asked. "It's my ex," she said. "He's been stalking me, but I blocked his number. I don't know how he got my new one. That should have been my cue to bail, but I stayed. She assured me he was just trying to mess with her and didn't know where she was." Fast forward to the next evening. We were sitting on the couch when we heard a loud bang on the front door. My heart sank. Mia's face said it all. She knew who it was. I got up and looked through the peephole. A guy was standing there, furious, pounding on the door. "Mia, I know you're in there," he yelled. "What the hell is going on?" I asked her. She admitted they'd just broken up 2 weeks ago, and he'd been tracking her ever since. Apparently, he had some sort of app that let him track her location through her phone. I told her to call the police, but she hesitated. "He'll leave," she said. "He's just trying to scare me." Then we heard glass shatter. The guy had thrown something through one of the windows. That's when I lost it. I grabbed a kitchen knife and yelled through the door, "I'm calling the cops. Get out of here." Instead of leaving, he started trying to kick the door down. Mia finally called while I pushed a table against the door. It felt like an eternity before the police arrived. When they did, the guy tried to run, but they caught him. Turns out he had a knife in his pocket and had been arrested before for domestic violence. Mia and I never spoke again after that weekend. My best friend, Emily, and I booked a cozy little cabin for a weekend getaway. We'd been working nonstop and needed a break. The listing looked perfect, secluded, peaceful, and owned by a guy named Tom who seemed harmless enough in his profile picture. When we arrived, Tom was waiting for us on the porch. He smiled and said, "Welcome, ladies. Let me give you a quick tour." He seemed nice, maybe a little overly friendly, but nothing too off-putting. He walked us through the cabin, pointing out every little detail, like he was showing off his prized possession. It wasn't until the end of the tour that he said something strange. "I live nearby, so if you need anything at all, don't hesitate to call me. I can be here in 5 minutes." Emily and I exchanged a look, but we thanked him and settled in. The first night was uneventful, though we kept joking about how Tom seemed a little too eager to be helpful. The next afternoon, we were lounging on the deck when we heard footsteps behind us. We turned around, and there was Tom. No knock, no warning. He was just there. "Thought I'd check in and make sure everything's okay," he said, smiling. Emily and I were caught off guard. Yeah, everything's fine," I said. "But we weren't expecting you," Tom chuckled. "I figured you might need something. A lot of people forget little things, like extra towels or firewood." He gestured toward the pile of firewood he'd brought with him. It felt intrusive, but we didn't want to seem rude. We thanked him, and he finally left. That night, things got even weirder. Around 10 p.m., we were watching a movie when we heard something outside. We looked out the window and saw Tom standing near the edge of the woods, watching the cabin. My heart dropped. I told Emily, "We need to lock everything now." We bolted the doors and closed the blinds. I tried calling Tom to ask what the hell he was doing, but he didn't answer. About an hour later, there was a knock at the door. It was Tom. He had a plate of cookies in his hand and said, "I thought you girls might like a late-night snack." At that point, I'd had enough. "Tom, you're making us uncomfortable," I said. Please, don't come back unless we call you." He looked taken aback, but said, "Of course, I just wanted to make sure you were safe." Then he left. The rest of the night, we kept hearing strange noises outside, branches snapping, footsteps. We didn't sleep at all. The next morning, we packed up and left early. Later, I reported the incident to Airbnb. Turns out, we weren't the first guests to complain about Tom's behavior. His account was eventually suspended, but I still get chills thinking about what could have happened if we hadn't left when we did.